Network engineers and hackers share a real-life superpower. They can literally see invisible data floating through the air, traveling through cables, and moving across the world. How do they do it? They use a piece of software called Wireshark. If you are a computer science or cybersecurity student, Wireshark is the single most important tool you will ever learn to use. It is the ultimate truth teller of the internet. Think of your computer like a busy warehouse. Millions of digital boxes are leaving and entering your computer every single second. Wireshark is the security camera at the front door. It records every single box, tells you who sent it, who is receiving it, and exactly what is inside. Today, we are putting on the X-ray glasses. I'm going to give you the ultimate beginner's guide to using Wireshark on Windows. By the end of this video, you will be able to capture, filter, and read network traffic like a pro. Let's dive in. When you open Wireshark for the very first time, you are going to see a screen that looks like this. Don't let all the technical text intimidate you. Right here in the middle, you see a list of interfaces. Remember our security camera analogy? Wireshark is simply asking you, boss, which door do you want me to point the security camera at? Your computer has multiple doors. You have an Ethernet port for a physical cable, a Wi-Fi adapter for wireless, maybe a Bluetooth adapter, or even virtual adapters. Look for the little squiggly line graph moving up and down next to the names. That graph represents live network traffic. Right now, I am connected to my home network using Wi-Fi. You can see the traffic spiking on my Wi-Fi interface. To start recording, all we do is double-click on Wi-Fi. Let's do it. Whoa, look at this chaos. The moment you click that interface, Wireshark starts capturing every single packet entering and leaving your computer in real time. Right now, you are literally looking at the matrix. You are seeing background Windows updates, Discord syncing, Spotify pinging a server, and browser tabs refreshing. It looks like a fire hose of colorful, chaotic data, but I promise you, it is actually highly organized. To stop this crazy scrolling so we can actually look at it, go up to the top left corner and click the red square button. That is the Stop Capture button. Okay, take a deep breath. Let's break down this interface. Wireshark is divided into three main windows, or panes. First, pane 1, the packet list, or the top section. Think of this top section like your email inbox. Every single row you see here is one individual packet, one digital box that was sent or received. It gives us a quick summary: the time it arrived, the source IP, or who sent it, the destination IP, or where it's going, the protocol, and a quick info summary. Then pane 2, the packet details, or the middle section. If the top pane is the inbox, this middle pane is where we open the box. When you click on a packet at the top, this middle window shows you exactly how that packet was built. If you watched my networking masterclass video, this middle pane is literally the OSI model in real life. You can see the physical layer, the data link layer with the MAC addresses, the network layer with the IP addresses, and the transport layer with TCP or UDP. We will look closer at this in a second. Finally, we have pane 3, the packet bytes, or the bottom section. This bottom pane looks terrifying. It is pure hexadecimal and binary code. This is the raw, untranslated machine code of the packet. Unless you're doing advanced malware analysis or reverse engineering malware, you will rarely need to look at this bottom pane as a beginner. You can safely ignore it for now. Right now, we are looking at thousands of random background packets. Trying to find one specific website visit in here is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. To find the needle, we use Wireshark's greatest feature, the display filter bar. It's this green bar right at the top. Let's do a real-world experiment. I'm going to start a new capture. I'll click the blue shark fin icon in the top left. It asks if I want to save the old capture. I'll click Continue without saving. Now, I'm going to open my Windows command prompt. I'm going to ping Google's DNS server, which is 8.8.8.8. Ping is just a way for my computer to say, "Hello, are you there?" And Google says, "Yes, I'm here." I type ping 8.8.8.8 and hit enter. Reply, 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 reply. 4 successful pings. Okay, I stopped the capture, but my pings are buried in thousands of other packets. Here is how we use the magic filter. In the green bar, I am going to type ICMP. ICMP is the specific protocol that the ping command uses. I type ICMP and hit enter. Boom! Look at that. Wireshark hid all the background noise. We are now looking at exactly 8 packets. 4 requests going out and 4 replies coming back. Let's look at this very first packet. The source is my laptop's IP address. The destination is 8.8.8.8, or Google. Now let's look at the middle pane, the packet details. Let's expand these arrows. This is going to blow your mind if you've been studying networking. Look at the Ethernet 2 dropdown. This is layer 2 of the OSI model. Look right here. There is the source MAC address, or my computer's physical fingerprint, and the destination MAC address, or my local router's fingerprint. Just like we talked about in the masterclass, the physical addresses are attached right here. Now look at the next dropdown, Internet Protocol version 4, or IPv4. This is layer 3. Here is my logical source IP address and Google's destination IP address. And finally, at the bottom, we see the actual data payload, the ICMP. It shows it's an echo request, a literal digital hello. Let's do one more. Remember our video on DNS? The taxi driver who finds the IP addresses? Let's watch him work in real life. I'm going to change my filter from ICMP to DNS and hit enter. Look at all these background DNS requests my computer was making. Let's click on this one. If I expand the domain name system section in the middle pane and look under queries, you can literally see my computer asking the network, hey, what is the IP address for this website? And if you click the very next packet, the DNS response, you can see the server replying with the exact IP address. You're watching the internet work in real time. You're seeing the exact phone calls the DNS taxi driver makes. This is just scratching the surface of what Wireshark can do. Security professionals use this tool to catch hackers stealing passwords, to find malware secretly phoning home to malicious servers, and to troubleshoot broken networks. But as a beginner, your goal today is simply to open Wireshark, pick your Wi-Fi interface, ping a website, and use the filter bar to find it. Get comfortable opening up those digital boxes and looking at the MAC and IP addresses inside. If this beginner's guide helped take the fear out of Wireshark, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know down in the comments what you want me to capture in Wireshark next. Should we look at a hacker's port scan? Or maybe see what happens when you type your password into an unsecured website? Let me know. I'm the CS Mentor, and I'll see you in the next one.